You live in it's like talking to my mom. You live in a fantasy world. You live in a fantasy world.
This is actually like talking to people in my family too.
That's okay. Yeah, you live in a fantasy world. Nothing that you're saying is true. Donald Trump gave a speech for an hour plus. He wanted there to be violence at the Capitol. That was the plan the entire time. We know that because of conversations that he had with private counsel beforehand, and we know because he sat and he watched the Capitol be rioted at for 3 hours and he did nothing about it. People were outside chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." He was evacuated from his office, and then he was evacuated to an underground bunker where Trump didn't even call him to check on him. Okay, and as he's down in his bunker, he's looking at his phone where Donald Trump is tweeting, "Mike Pence has failed us." Okay, he didn't do what needs to be done. Like the idea that this all just happened by accident and the Democrats have done the same thing. No, they haven't. The Democrats have never led a mass protest insurrection at the Capitol building to circumvent the certification of the vote. That's never happened ever. And the idea that you're going to string together some series of quotes from people and pretend that this is the same thing as Donald Trump giving an hour-and-a-half speech about how every single swing state election was stolen, you will never find anything that is the equivalent of that. And even bringing up Gore v. Bush is a joke because despite the unpopularity of that Supreme Court case, they accepted the results of the election, just like how Hillary conceded the very night of the election to Donald Trump, as opposed to Donald Trump, who tried to win, who tried to claim victory the night of before the votes had even been counted. It's not even close to the same thing. On every single factual level, you're completely delusional and off on the opposite on the end here. Okay, well, every single thing I just said is beyond verified true. Like, it's not, nobody even contests this.
I mean, I don't know anything about it. And like I said, in terms of, no offense, just trusting that your fact pattern and the things, support your conclusions in this conversation, I disagree. That's a nice piece back there. You're the shotgun. You shoot clay?
Yeah, skated trap, depending on what's near me. But
where do you live?
Miami Beach.
Oh, that is not what I would have guessed. I went to UFC 287 in Miami, and it was the first show that Trump came into the building for. And I was sitting in the front row with, well, not the front. I was like in that close right next to it because I'm buddies with the Miami Dolphins coach. And all these NFL guys were there. And a few of them, I heard them talking before, before the show. And they were saying like, man, I can't have a picture taken with Trump, like, because they were worried about backlash or whatnot. And when Trump came in, the place literally, I've never heard a crowd go that bananas for anything. I've been to a million UFC shows. They cheered louder for Trump and longer for Trump than I've ever seen ever. And I looked over at the guys that had said it, and it's this look of bewilderment that I can't even describe. It's like it's like they were like, oh wow, I lived in this world where I actually believed everybody hates this guy, and now I'm faced with the reality that in this building, everyone not only likes him, they love him. And it's like, I've said to a lot of people, I'm like, listen, dude, I don't care what you think of the guy. If you are in the building and felt that energy of the collective, all that excited about him, you would get behind him just because it feels good to have everybody that positive and optimistic. It's like, you think that, I don't know what you think actually about why people support Trump, but that's what it is. Humans are tribal creatures. Like, we are supposed to find, other like-minded people, tribe up. We battle against other tribes. It's just primal. And as much as like I disagree with people on politics, I really do see every single person in this country as an American that's on my team. Like, I don't see like some enemy state on the other side. But the people who hate Trump, you guys do, because you hate him that much. You dislike him that much.
Because he's un-American, yes.
But see, I think it's un-American to be flipping about an American who got shot in front of his kids.
There's nothing un-American about that. Americans have a wide range of views on violence and violent conduct or whatever. But the subverting the democratic process, fighting against like every single branch of government, saying you're going to be a dictator on day one. How do you feel when he says he has a right to suspend the Constitution to look for voter fraud?
I don't know about that. Let me ask you this: Do you think that it was a reasonable conclusion that his supporters had that there might have been widespread shenanigans in the swing states?
No,
given the
this was
circumstances?
fabricated, made by Donald Trump's campaign. And every single one of these major claims was a total and absolute lie. And you can follow the genesis of them all the way to the culmination. And it always ends with people like Giuliani or Powell or Fox News saying, we lied about this. That's why Fox News lost their Dominion lawsuit. That's why Giuliani and Sidney Powell said they lied and they settled with the states that they were fighting with. All of them did. Every single one. That's why he lost 62 out of 63 of his court cases.
I'm not talking about those guys. I'm saying the citizens of the country who voted for Trump, given the circumstances, was it reasonable for them to be suspicious of the election results, given that the mail-in voting thing happened? Trump is winning when they go to sleep. They wake up and suddenly it's flip-flopped.
No, everybody knew that was going to happen. Every single person. People were talking about it beforehand.
And why did they know that was going to happen?
Because Donald Trump was telling his supporters from day one that mail-in ballots were going to be rigged. So they weren't going to participate in the mail-in ballot system.
They knew that there was going to be a big jump in Biden votes.
Yes.
Because of the mail-in voting. But the reason that everyone knew that is because the mainstream media told them that. And the mainstream media, from their perspective, is literally just controlled propaganda for the other side. So like, that's not convincing that they said,
no,
oh yeah,
hold
you know,
on.
like.
Do you agree that Democrats took like social distancing and masking more seriously than Republicans?
Yeah.
Okay. So they were more likely to vote by mail-in ballot than Republicans, right?
Oh, I'm not saying that they weren't more likely to. I'm talking about, was it reasonable for the voters to be suspicious of the outcome? I'll pose a counter vision of what happened on January 6th. So in 2020, the government mandated that everybody stay in their homes and not leave and do all the things that I can't talk about the shot ever again. But and simultaneously were turning on their television and watching BLM rioters burn the cities down every single day. That was going on the entire year of 2020. That's all people saw. They looked, they're burning down the cities, burning down the cities, burning down the cities, burning down the cities. And so in an election where they literally changed the rules for the election, because, everybody's locked down. So now we got to do the mail-in voting, which, may or may not be more secure, regardless of whether or not the election results were legit. I have no ability to verify or not verify these things, but to act as if it's a bizarre conclusion to come to in a completely changed, environment where we're going to make this less secure. We're doing this. It's because of this. And then people go to sleep the night of the election and Trump's up by a mile. Then the next morning they're all, oh, hey guys, now we counted all the mail-in voting and look at this, dude. Now Trump's losing. Whether or not it's legit or not legit, to act as if it's a bizarre conclusion for them to have. So then,
can I understand then? So you think that all the state election committees were rigged? All the state courts.
That's not what I said.
Wait.
I literally said I have no idea.
Hold on. When you say you have no idea, that's what you're saying, because you don't trust the states. You don't trust the state governors. Okay. You don't trust their. Hold on. Stop pivoting. I'm just asking you very clearly and very concisely. You think that every single state involved, we'll say at least the 7 swing states or whatever, all of these states lied, all of their courts lied, all of the federal courts that had to review them lied, and then the DOJ and the FBI, who are all, by the way, under Trump, all of these people lied as well. Every single person.
Is that what I said?
How can you not trust the outcome if you don't think that all these people lied? Because every single state and all of their state courts and then federal courts all reviewed a lot of this material.
I very clearly said that I have no ability to personally verify whether or not the votes are legit or not. What I'm talking about is the people marching on the Capitol, and then ultimately there being violence at the Capitol.
Hold on. Do you think that the results of do you think
you ever see the movies where they put people into a movie theater and then they put the glasses on and they feed them the images that's going to make them interpret the world the way it is?
Yeah, it's called Fox News.
If you put people in their home, and show them nothing but people being angry and rioting downtown, this city, that city, and then they feel as though the election was stolen, and then now they march the Capitol, and then you have a handful of people that help with a little bit of incitement, and then they're going to explode. That's not Trump that did that.
Trump was literally inciting them the entire time. He called the people there. He did. Why did he call them there to protest? What are they protesting on January 6th?
Why does anybody protest anything?
No, hold on. Wait, does everybody protest randomly? What were they protesting on January 6th?
They were protesting that they were going to certify the election results where
Correct.
they.
And what was their goal? To stop the steal. What does that mean?
What they're protesting is the interpretation from them. I'm not there. I wasn't at January 6th, but they're interpreting it as this has not been convincing that this was actually investigated and that he did not have the election stolen.
Correct. So you're right. So they didn't believe the results of the election. So they went to protest on January 6th to change the results of the election.
not to change the results of the election. They're protesting the
certification of the vote.
Dude, people protest.
That's an insurrection.
It's not.
It is. You're saying they don't agree with the results of the election because they think it was rigged, and they're going to go and protest it to quote unquote stop the steal.
Right. And so you're saying that this was a coordinated plan.
No one said anything about, well, it was coordinated because Donald Trump, they didn't go on January 5th, right? They didn't go on January 7th, right? They went there on January 6th to protest what you said.
People to protest, not to violently insurrect the government with no guns.
Well, he knew they had guns when he sent them to the Capitol because the vast majority of the people that showed up at the Ellipse were outside of the secured area. The Secret Service told him there were people there with guns. That's one of the reasons why he wasn't allowed to go to the Capitol afterwards, even though he wanted to. And then he sent them to the Capitol to go and protest. What were they protesting? The certification of the vote. And what happens when they went there? They managed to delay the certification of the vote. What did Donald Trump do? He was calling senators saying, hey, maybe we should wait a little while longer to certify the vote. Everything plays into this one narrative of trying to stop the certification of the vote, stop the steal. It's what it was. It's like so obvious. Like every single part plays into this.
It's such a crazy interpretation.
Literally everything from the beginning. Hey guys, we're going to stop the steal. Everybody shows up on the Ellipse at January 6th. Hey guys, just so you know, the election was stolen. You need to fight like hell or you're going to lose your country. This election was illegitimate. We need to hashtag stop the steal. People march to the Capitol. They protest and they riot and they have to stop the certification of the vote, which was the steal. And you're like, and then Donald Trump is sitting in his office for 187 minutes for 3 hours, not calling the National Guard or doing anything, watching them stop the steal. And you're like, bro, how could you possibly have this interpretation of events? What?
Because you're making one gigantic leap that's not even defensible in any kind of reasonable way.
What's the leap?
You're saying like all the way up to, yes, they are there to protest. They are there because of this. Then you leap to Donald Trump organized them with the intention of them rioting. That's just not accurate. And then there's not even like a line of dialogue that you could say that would even moderately hold up. The January 6th committee, literally, they went through every single thing. They tried everything they could to nail him to the wall, and even they couldn't come up with anything realistic about him inciting violence.
You can literally go through all of Trump's tweets before the day of. On January 5th, he tweets, I hope the Democrats, and even more importantly, the weak and ineffective rhino section of the Republican Party are looking at the thousands of people pouring into D.C. They won't stand for a landslide election victory to be stolen. What does that mean?
Right. He's saying that there's a lot of support for more investigation into whether or not he actually lost the election.
On January 6th, the rioters are there to investigate?
He didn't say rioters. The protesters are there because they're unhappy that the election's being certified when they feel that the election was stolen.
Correct. They're there to stop the certification of the election.
People coming into D.C., this is a representation of a very large percentage of the population who agree with them. You guys should pay attention because, but like none of that.
January 4th, Donald Trump tweets out, how can you certify an election when the numbers being certified are verifiably wrong? You will see the real numbers tonight during my speech, but especially on January 6th. Hashtag March for Trump. Hashtag Stop the Steal. Hashtag Do Not Certify.
What about that sounds like, hey guys, let's go incite violence and raid the Capitol?
How can you stop the certification of the vote? How did they stop the certification? They did it by rioting and breaking into the Capitol, right?
Right. But so your contention is that because Trump said stop the certification, that means that he's like dog whistling to the group to go and invade the Capitol? It's a ludicrous conclusion.
That's exactly what they did. They literally did this, and he literally sat by and watched it.
But you're saying that he told them to do it or incited it directly.
Yeah, that's what he wants. Yes, of course. He literally wants it to happen. If he didn't want it to happen, why is it that as soon as Trump saw this happening, why wouldn't he have made a call for people to go home? Or why wouldn't he have deployed the National Guard?
He did.
No, he didn't. It took him 3 hours.
I don't know the exact timeline. I know
do. It was 187 minutes.
You need to go home peacefully.
Yeah, yes. After 3 hours of his entire family and everybody else in the Republican establishment and the Fox and the right-wing media establishment begging him, please, and his son even sending him, please send these people home.
Nonetheless, the argument that he incited them and told them to go in any way, verbally or non-verbally, is just not there.
January 2nd, he tweets out, an attempt to steal a landslide election win. Can't let it happen. How do you stop them from stealing?
How is that telling people to go violently raid the Capitol?
On January 1st, retweeting, the cavalry is coming, Mr. President. Hashtag March for Trump. Hashtag Stop the Steal. The slogan is "Be there, will be wild." January 6th. What are they doing?
He's promoting a protest
for the certification of the vote.
Right.
January 1st,
we
the big
agree on
protest rally in Washington, D.C. will take place at 11 a.m. on January 6th. Location details to follow. Stop the steal. How are they going to stop this? How do you stop the certification of the vote? How do you do that? You think just protesting outside, they're just going to stop certifying it?
Okay, like, do you think that, well, I guess in this case, a bad example, but I would have said, do you think that just because people are upset about, some incidents with police, that if they say defund the police, that they were actually expecting for the cities to defund the police? I'm saying, like, people protest things they're unhappy about.
Wait, hold on. Yes, there were people that protested to defund the police, and they want them to defund the police. Yeah, it was stupid, but yeah, there were people that, you think that people that wanted them to protest to defund the police, you don't think those people actually wanted the police defunded?
No, what I'm saying is you're attributing a methodology and an action plan for stop the steal or stop the certification, which includes violence. It's not there. It's just not there.
But it literally is. Donald Trump had fake elector slates made. He was trying to pressure Pence to accept these fake electors from these states, and violence was part of the way to pressure people in Congress to not certify the vote, or to pressure Pence to...
Do you think, this is a little bit off topic, do you think that Donald Trump, like, in your opinion, I'm not talking about the actual vote counting, any of that, do you think that Donald Trump really believed that the election was stolen?
Absolutely
or that
not. He was lying the whole time.
So you think the whole thing he's lying?
Absolutely. Obviously. So
yeah,
obvious.
I completely disagree.
Of course you do. But every single person around him that's credible, the entirety of all of his White House legal counsel, vice president's legal counsel, his Department of Justice, everybody was telling him, these are claims. None of this is real. We cannot find evidence of any of these things. And Donald Trump went outside the White House to find a cackle pot of crazy lawyers like Powell and Giuliani and Eastman to feed him these crazy conspiracies to try to make him...
Giuliani's a cackle pot lawyer as of when, though, prior to that?
Everything that I've seen, he might have been in New York. I don't know. I haven't gone over his cases for that. But watching Giuliani's conduct during this stuff, yeah, he was an insane, crazy person, of course.
See, this is what I was talking about. If our base assumptions about what a person's motivations are in opposite ends, that's what I'm saying. It's pointless to even discuss the facts.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye. Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.